0.95, 0.96 power factor. And a capacitive inductive circuit. Shorting this one out here will give me a little bit more, 0.42, 41. And I doubled all the capacitance, which has made this 96 attainable. I was only pushed 92 before then. So doubling every capacitor, 10 microfarads in parallel in series with the with the setup here. So every one of these capacitors here is doubled. These two over here are doubled, and both speakers are hooked up as before. A little self-defeater relay on. Let me turn this down here. A little self-defeater relay here on the kicker coil, which is the 22 volt one, so I can short it straight out. And that one goes nuts. This is interesting. Maybe you can hear this real quick. There's a oscillating high and low tone in the background. You can probably hear it there. Anyway, that tone, I've heard it before. At night all by itself. Way over yonder, out in the cornfield somewhere, there's some kind of factory out there that has some machinery, and I hear this noise audibly late at night throughout the evening, and it's present on the AC line noise. Now the mag amp's technically not in operation because this secondary kicker here is going straight to the speaker. So the energy is just going straight there. There's not really anything going on over here until I put the self-defeater back on. When this coil is allowed to freely oscillate and vibrate with the primary, vibrate from the primary next to it, the circuit vibrates much better. And as you see, the power factor is ridiculous. So I turned it down too low for the meter to work. I gotta get up to almost 90 for it to start working. 0.26. Oh, sorry. It's not dark enough. There we go. 0.26, 25 we're at. That's with just this toroid driving that speaker. So we'll remove it off there. This one comes back on. This is our output from the other side, the other leg of the toroid coming off. And we'll put it back on the self-defeater. Now it's not enough to trigger it. It is humming a little bit because it does influence this a little bit. So there's some vibration here already, but it's not enough to trigger the contact to open until we give it a little bit more juice. So with that on there, we're up to almost 0.45. We got shorted over there. I'm going to bring the voltage up and then turn. Oh, so it's not turned on yet. I can bypass the whole secondary modulator, octave modulator, off of the other side of the opposite side of the toroid. I can bypass it, so when I turn it on, now we hear noise in here, which that means that when this coil is, this is the switch here, when that's enabled, this speaker here starts to hear noise because now more current is traveling through this, and it is actuating. It was. And it's self-defeating. If I give it a little bit more voltage, now it's buzzing. So it is, that would be on here where this switch is. That's the self-defeating relay. And then this is hearing the noise from it. So, and as that happening, now our power factor is up to 0.55. Alright. Sucks, right? Capacitive inductive circuit. It's going to be shitty. But let's go over here and turn on allow the octave modulator to arc. I don't have that hooked up. That's the 20 nanofarad HV bank. I can hook it up and get a pretty good arc and crackling going on here. But with just the voltage by itself, which is very low because it's presumably only supposed to be 44 volts going into it, but somehow I think we have a little more something tells me. Anyway, with that jumping around over there, power factor has gone way up to 80, 81, 82. So the more stable I can make it, if I give it a little bit more voltage now, and I can allow this out a little farther, you see the power factor is able to climb. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it was in. Yeah, there it is. So now we hear a third harmonic. I can hear a root note coming out of here. I hear a major third. That's a musical chord right there. The root, it's 1, major 3, and I can make 5 come out if I close it all the way, or you turn that back off for a second, hook up the cap bank, and now we hear one in between, one lower than one, way down here. See that? That's a fine amount of little E3 there, isn't it? A guy could do things with that. So you can definitely see the fluctuation. The self-defeater is directly affecting this. Let's remove the self-defeater. And whether it's through the speaker or just shorting the coil, either way, I can take the other half of the coil here without shocking myself and short it out, and it dies instantly. Everything, including the spark. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, you can hear it. So it kills it completely just by shorting that 22-volt coil. Let me turn back down here. Where were we at? We were at 90. Oh wait, I'm gonna get off power factor. Without it arcing, 65. It goes all the way up to. So we've seen it. Oh well, it's a finely tuned procedure here. Definitely doubling all the caps has made even slightly higher achievable and easier, even though I could bring it back. But just through combinations of a resonant circuit here, arcing and vibrating back, and pumping, putting noise on this leg of the toroid, the 2 yellow 44 out that you can't see. I got new clips today. I got big bags of clips. Anyway, these are the 2 coming out, and previously only had 1 5. Now we have 2 5s in parallel in series, so 10 on each side, which should put me down to 5 microfarads of reactance. And still using that. This thing doesn't do a whole lot. It allows external modulation. It does have like you can hear it in the tone. There's a higher end, if you were thinking of it as an audio EQ, more higher end, mid to high, you can hear it round out and get some more of a higher pitched tone to it by shorting this. And then some of the real low end, like the 30 or 15 hertz ringing that's happening somewhere here and there, is a lot more unstable when it is shorted. You can hear it fluctuating a little bit. So it's pretty interesting. It's really wild listening to your electricity. I never thought to use sound. I read that somewhere, and I can't remember where, but it was purportedly spoken. And it's really interesting to hear how modulation can be perceived with your ears, as opposed to modern day atrocities that perhaps insurmount us into utilizing to their full extent.